Ah, traveler, it's always good to see you. I have a tale, if you have time to listen.
Rodney steps through the temple doors. The goddess is waiting, and whatever answers she gives won't come for free. Rodney stared down at the blade. The soul energy inside it pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat waiting for him to grab hold and let it in. His fingers twitched. Not yet, he thought. Not until he understood what that power meant. Not until he knew what the goddess wanted from him. Frank's voice softened. You don't need that sword to survive, kid. Not right now. Just hold on to it. Maybe later you'll be strong enough, or smart enough, to know what to do with it. Rodney nodded, swallowing thickly. He gripped the blade by its leather-wrapped hilt and dragged it behind him. The metal whined across stone, heavy and unforgiving, as he approached the massive temple doors. He stopped just before them and glanced back over his shoulder. I'll come back, he said quietly. Frank didn't look away from the fog, but he nodded once. You better. I'm not dying in this graveyard again. Rodney faced the doors. They swung inward on their own. He stepped inside the temple. The air changed instantly, colder than outside, but cleaner too, like the dust hadn't dared settle here even after centuries. The chamber opened into a vast hall, lit only by faint, ghost-pale fire flickering in braziers mounted along the walls. Shadows stretched upward toward cathedral ceilings carved with symbols he didn't recognize. Rows of ruined pews lined the hall, ancient, splintered, broken from time or violence. At the far end stood a raised stone podium, and behind it, a throne. White marble intertwined with obsidian veining, sculpted into elegant curves and spikes, like beauty and cruelty forged together. Draped across it, stiff posture, clenched jaw, glowing eyes like amethyst flame, sat the goddess, Vera. Except she didn't look amused now, or smug, or teasing. She looked furious. Her robes were immaculate, but her expression was a storm behind glass, rage bottled too tightly, shimmering in her eyes. The temple doors boomed shut behind him. Rodney flinched and spun around. The doors sealed themselves, stone grinding against stone. Vera's eyes snapped up to him, bright, sharp, and venomous. You took longer than expected, she said. Her voice shook the dust from the rafters. Rodney swallowed. I had a boss fight. A crude term, she muttered, but accurate. She straightened, and the temperature in the room dipped sharply. Come here, mortal. Rodney dragged the enormous sword forward until he stood before her platform. The goddess let her gaze flicker down to the blade. Her lip curled. You cannot wield that. Rodney stiffened. I can carry it. And that is all, she replied smoothly. Strength is a currency in this place, and you are impoverished. She didn't rise from her throne. She didn't need to. Her presence filled the hall like pressure under the skin. You pulled me here, she said, trapped me in this shell of a world. I do not know how, and I doubt you know how, but the result remains. I cannot leave while souls here are still unfinished. Rodney's heart skipped. Unfinished? How? Redeemable, she said, disgust curling her tongue. Those who still have a spark of self, those who have not hollowed entirely. Her eyes narrowed. Yes, the ones like your little stray, Frank. Rodney blinked. So what do you want me to do? Vera smiled, the kind of smile that precedes a chess move. What you have already begun. Redeem them. Rodney shivered. Is that even possible? It was not, she said, until you arrived. A long, silent pause stretched between them. Vera finally lifted her hand, lazy, elegant, and the air shimmered like disturbed water. Soul investment, she said. A primitive mortal might call them levels. A translucent lattice of symbols and runes unfolded before Rodney's eyes. No numbers, no menus, just shifting glyphs that felt like categories. Strength, endurance, will, vitality. This is not a toy, she said coldly. This display appears only when I invoke it. Do not expect it otherwise. Rodney nodded slowly, entranced. You have enough essence for 4 advancements. 4 levels, Rodney breathed. If you insist on using your childish word, yes. Choose. His gaze drifted instinctively toward the greatsword. If he could swing it, if he could actually fight with it. Strength, he said. All of them. Veyra's eyebrows lifted, just barely, but the condescension in her smile sharpened. Are you certain? She asked in a tone that suggested she already knew the answer. A more balanced spread would make you less fragile. But if your only desire is to flail that slab of metal in broad arcs. Rodney bristled. I'm sure. Very well. She snapped her fingers. Heat rushed through his limbs. His muscles tightened, coiled, thickened. His bones shuddered with pressure, like the world had become heavier, and he had simply decided to lift it anyway. The sensation was intoxicating and terrifying all at once. When it faded, Rodney lifted the greatsword experimentally. It rose. Not easily, not smoothly, but he could bring it up and hold it. Barely. Veyra looked unimpressed. Crude but functional, she said. Now, the tools you will require. She reached to the side of her throne and produced a small white stick, shaped like chalk, but wrapped in shimmering wax. With this, she said, you may write messages on the stones between worlds. Only those who still retain their minds will see them. Notes, warnings, pleas, petty jokes, whatever your kind finds meaningful. Rodney took it, feeling faint warmth pulse through it. It felt helpful, too helpful. Next, Veyra extended her other hand, revealing a simple silver ring. Place this on your finger. Think of an object you hold, and it will reside within the ring. Think of retrieving it, and it will return to your hand. A storage system, a proper inventory. Rodney slipped it on, and then paused. If I can store anything, why did you tell me to leave the sword here? Veyra's expression froze for half a heartbeat. I merely suggested, she said lightly, that carrying such a burden would be inconvenient for you. Rodney's jaw tightened. Inconvenient for her, he thought. Distrust curled in his gut like smoke. He took a breath. So, what happens when I redeem the hollowed? He asked. Really? Veyra leaned back, tilting her head slightly, regal, impatient. I am released. Rodney stared at her. Then he smiled, a small, thin line of disbelief and dawning fury. And what happens to us? He asked softly. The redeemed hollows. Frank. Me. Anyone who survives this nightmare? Veyra blinked once, slow, deliberate. Then she smiled. I do not concern myself with afterthoughts. Rodney's blood chilled. Afterthoughts, he echoed. Veyra rose from her throne at last, her presence overwhelming, divine, and cold enough to frost glass. You asked for truth, she said. There it is. She turned her back to him and dismissed the projected runes with a flick of her hand. Now go, mortal. Redeem them if you can. The doors will open when you are ready. Rodney looked down at the greatsword, his hands trembling around the grip. Not from fear, from anger and resolve. He stepped backward toward the doors. Veyra did not look at him again. Next time. Rodney leaves the temple with answers, and somehow, that makes everything worse. The goddess has spoken. The rules are changing. And whatever happens next, He won't be facing it blind anymore. Just angry.
Wasn't that interesting? Now don't forget to subscribe for more.
And ring the bell for your server.